Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Plenty. I think that gain is probably way up, Ryan. My guess is that they may have been playing around with it a little bit.
Hey folks, it's okay. You can sit over here.
Good morning, everybody. Eamon, congratulations for holding this entire side of the room down. We're very glad. Oh, Jeff's gonna help you. Whew, it's often like one-sided, but this is something. I'm just feeling leany. It is good to see you all this morning as everybody comes in. It is sunshiny now. When I drove in, it was snowing, and now the sun is out. So welcome to winter. It is the second Sunday in a row that we've had snow falling on a Sunday morning. So we're glad to see you all here. If you are joining us at home because you didn't want to go out in the snow, we're glad you're here as well in that way. We're glad that's an option and a way to be able to join us, even if you don't want to brave the weather or for whatever reason you're staying home. We're glad you're here. A couple of announcements about things that are coming up. A couple of things that are today. Right after worship this morning, we're going to go downstairs. Everybody's invited to either sing in a Christmas choir led by Bethany DeBlay or to join Becky and Alyssa in creating some more decorations for our building. So anybody is welcome to join that. Right after worship, we'll head downstairs, and Bethany's going to lead a choir. She says anybody can come, mostly. Anybody? She says anybody. I love it. I like it. Monroe's in the choir. That's it. Monroe's in the choir. The craft group, by the way, you do not need creative ability. You need to be able to maybe use a scissors, I think is really it, and a glue stick. So Kevin's out. Hilarious. All right, and then tonight, note time change here. Branch students, it's your Christmas party today, but it's not until 6 o'clock tonight. You're going to come back here at 6 for food, cookie decorating, games, and of course, the White Elephant gift exchange. So bring something from your house, please not from your trash can, that is $5-ish for a gift to exchange and participate in that fun. Yeah. Anything else, leaders, that you want to say about that? No? If you've never come to Branch, students, and you are in 6th through 12th grades, then you are invited. And it's a great time to jump into that group and to get to know some other students and some phenomenal leaders. So everybody's invited to that. Next Sunday, right after worship, Christmas choir, art group, and we're jamming it in here in December. It is what happens. We also have a congregational meeting to vote on our budget for next year. Exactly. It's very exciting. Budgets are very exciting. They kind of are, because they let you look and dream and say, hey, here's the real CJ does not agree. But then you could look back and say there are some really good things that have happened, and here are the really good things that we hope to do in the future. If you are a partner, you should have received an email this week with the budget and some notes about that. If you didn't receive that, or if you're not an official partner, there are copies in the back of the budget and the letter that got sent out. If you have questions about that budget, yes, there will be time next Sunday. We'd love to hear them ahead of time. So you can email the stewards, you can talk to Chris or I, you can email any of us, that you can get those questions at least submitted, so we can start to prepare for that as well. Okay? All right. Heather Carroll is going to talk to you about this sock drive that we're doing for the people that you work with often. So go ahead.
Thank you. All right, guys. First of all, I want to say thank you for everybody who's brought socks and boots and coats. Like, I've gotten so many donations, and it's been really wonderful to be able to share those with people. Just wanted to say I will honestly be collecting socks all winter. So, like, anytime you have socks, new socks are great, used socks are great, as long as they're in good condition. Mark, my husband, was here a couple of weeks ago, and people were asking what kind of socks. One creative thing you could do if you wanted to do something a little out of the box is folks who are unhoused, who are oftentimes like living in cars and vans and things like that, they really struggle with swelling of their legs just because of immobility, and they're in this really awkward position all the time. So compression socks are actually super helpful as well. So if you're looking for something a little different that might be helpful, that's another suggestion. So yes, that was, again, bring them on. I bring them with me in the van. There's always people with wet feet, and being able to change out their socks is really huge, and they really appreciate it. So yeah. And then I did want to announce really quickly, our BEMA group is meeting next week, and it's a celebration week because we made it through season 1 of the BEMA podcast. It took a year and a half. So we have gotten through Genesis through Deuteronomy, and next week is going to be a capstone week where we're kind of summarizing it, and we're going to meet at 6 instead of 6:30. We're having a potluck. Families are invited to join. If you haven't been to MEBA but you've had some interest, we are going to kind of do this capstone, which is an overview of what we've studied over the past year and a half. So if you're kind of just wanting to check it out, it will not be a typical get-together because it's going to be more of a party theme, but it could still be a good opportunity, and we'd be happy to have you. So,
Thank you, Heather. The bin for socks, by the way, there will be a bin in the back of the sanctuary each and every Sunday that you can contribute to whenever. Also, in the back of the sanctuary are some Advent resources. We mentioned this last week if you were on the Zoom call with us. There is a lovely, beautiful devotional in the back that has art and poetry and a lot of the stuff that we talk about on Sunday mornings, but gives you a really good chance to just slow down. It's short, so if you want to do it every day, it's great. But I think it's pretty meaningful too. I'm kind of picky about anything labeled devotional. This one is quite lovely and wonderful. So there's also Advent calendars in the back that you get to do like a week's worth now because we didn't meet last week. There's also children's bulletins, coloring pages, lots of good stuff back there. So take a look back there. Here's a great opportunity. It's time to greet each other and say hello. And if you want to go check out all that stuff in the back, you can do that as well. So if you were in the room, stand up, go say hello to somebody you haven't seen in a little while. If you are online, we'd love to hear from you too. Let us know what you're looking out your window at this morning. Ready, set, go.
worried for you.
Well, it helps people to set up all this stuff.
Yeah, totally. So, but it was great, yeah.
Tried our hardest to promote the makers market at least. I know Angela, who was sitting with me, she's so funny. She's very good. I mean, she works communications. Right. So like, I feel like every chance she's got, she's like, the promotion was just horrible for makers market, but for like Holiday on the Heights. And I was like, yeah. But this poor woman was like a one-person show, and she tried to do a lot. But maybe we sell bars next year. But hey, please let us help you.
There were, she asked me to announce the tree lighting last night, so I did that. There were lots of people there. I was surprised. Yeah, but we were. Oh, so it was a good gathering of people.
It was nice at that time with 3 out of 4 cats. So
Yeah, I thought it was challenging. There were so many things, but they were all like, this was this 2-hour block, this was this 2-hour block, this. So that probably made it challenging. And the signage wasn't really great. Yes, it wasn't outside. Signage wasn't great. So
As much as
I hope it was successful, but yeah, it would have been better to be some of it outside at least. Yeah.
I didn't even look. Shoot, the Brookside kids did art for the windows at Giggles and Gourmet. Oh, really? I didn't even see it. Yeah. Shoot, I forgot to pay attention. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to invite you to come back to your seats. And Katie is going to come up and lead us in a call to worship. Here you go, Katie.
Before I do that, I have one more announcement for you. So the Dominican Center, which I am heavily involved with, is offering a Blue Christmas service next Sunday. So if it doesn't feel like the most wonderful time of the year and you want some room for your sorrow with Jesus, they are offering an opportunity next Sunday at 4 o'clock. It's 4 to 5:30. And there will be spiritual directors available afterwards if you just want to talk to someone after the service. And then I also wanted to give a shout out for the Dominican Center. If you're not familiar with them, the Dominican Sisters by Aquinas College, they used to be over at Marywood. They offer like a lot of spiritual programs, and I've been kind of over there for about 10 years. So here's some of the things I've done. I've done a workshop with an art therapist. I've done Zentangle, which is kind of like mindful doodling. I've done soul collage. I've done breathing classes, chair yoga, imaginative prayer class, poetry readings. They're actually doing an Advent poetry reading on Wednesday. I've done writing workshops, and I've done a Just Faith curriculum. If you're not familiar with that, they kind of take you through a curriculum and kind of think about your faith in a justice-oriented way. But also, they also offer spiritual direction. So about 10 years ago, I signed up for a spiritual director. And as I kind of went through that process, I thought this is something I would like to offer to other people. So they offer a 3-year practicum course, and I just finished that this summer. So I'm now a certified spiritual director. So our call to worship. Your part is in yellow. Family of faith, God is at work. Redeeming and dreaming. Listening and loving. So may our hearts turn toward the God who never gives up, always plants reasons for hope all around us. Amen.
Today is the second Sunday in Advent. Advent is this season that is leading up to Christmas, but it's this season marked by a theme of waiting. Waiting, yes, for Christmas, but also waiting for God's kingdom to be even more fully present in our world and in our lives. So we're going to sing a song today that is an old Christmas Advent carol. We're going to sing some carols throughout the month of December because we get to, and they're fun songs. So I'm going to invite you to sing these words. At the end of one of the verses, it talks about it asks God to raise us to your glorious throne. And as I was reading those words this week, it was this reminder of, yes, eventually, like things will be all is well, right? But even now, in this moment, God can raise us to work in God's kingdom and goodness and glimmers of light and hope. So that is our hope this Advent season. Would you stand and join me in this song? You can have a seat as Paige and Ellie come up front and light our Advent candles this morning.
In a world full of fear, where do you see glimmers of peace?
I see glimmers of peace in the quiet of early morning, when people shake hands, when loved ones say they're sorry, and when the church sings together.
You are right. Even in a fearful world, peace is all around us.
Today, we light the candle of peace as a reminder of this good news. May this flicker of light help us remember that even in a fearful world, peace is present. We only have to look for it.
Thanks be to God. Amen.
Thank you, Sarah, for performing the ever difficult task of lighting the candles. Yes. It has been a busy morning. At least I feel that way, and it's a busy season. I mean, here we already are, a week into this month. It will fly by, of course. And so I think one of the gifts that we get to offer each other in this space is just moments to pause and to breathe and to reflect. And so I want to invite you to do exactly those things. And to do perhaps two types of purposeful reflection here this morning. One is to consider what you've experienced this week or what you've seen in the world that is not as it should be. We, in Christianese, might call this lament, right? This is naming what is not as it should be, the things that break our heart, the things that grieve us. So I want you to reflect on that. And then the other piece would be to reflect on what has brought you this week joy, or what you've seen in the lives of others or in this world that is worthy of celebration and gratitude. And I'm going to offer a prayer. I'm going to read a prayer, and then there's going to be space in this prayer for us to then collectively pray by saying out loud what grieves us, what we would lament together, and what we would give joy to. And I'll cue you to those times. So I'm going to read a little bit, and then I'm going to invite us together to say what is on our mind and on our heart. I'll read a little bit more, and then I'll again invite us to share out loud what's on our mind and heart. So would you pray with me here? God of starlight, there are days when beauty catches us by surprise. There are days when joy bubbles up inside us, when hope grows wings and soars beyond us, when love is so big and so real that it is all we can see. There are days when all seems right in the world, but not every day. There are other days, God, when, like John the Baptist, we find ourselves wondering where we could possibly go from here. We find ourselves wondering if we really did make a difference, or if change was a lost cause all along. You know the kind of days we speak of, God. We lament days with ambulance sirens and phone calls from the doctor, days of loneliness and haunting news reports, days spent at the cemetery or the jail, days when the suffering and injustice of the world feels particularly close. There are so many days our hope can run dry. And so let me invite us to name some of those ways out loud here together. What has been on your heart and mind? What perhaps did even those words bring to your consciousness that you might grieve or long would be different? What comes to mind?
The demonization of my boys from Afghanistan and Somalia.
The Verkijk family is close to relatively recent refugees from Somalia and Afghanistan, and Jeff said the demonization this week of people who are different and people who are from distant lands, and yes, calling them garbage and other such things. We lament that for sure. Yeah. These public demonstrations of cruelty and abuse that we see happening in our world, we lament those for sure. Maybe you've just had a hard week. Maybe work kind of sucked, Maybe a friend didn't show up the way you hoped they would. right? Maybe money's tight, bills are hard to pay right now. I mean, there are lots of things that are not as they should be. We lament those things together, we name them together. Let me continue here. God of starlight, when the weight of the world presses in on us, when injustice and suffering feel like the dominant narrative, when hope begins to slip through our hands, run toward us. Remind us of the birds that sing in the morning. Remind us of the flowers that push through thawing ground. Remind us of the groups of people that have always made a difference. Remind us of the work this church has done. Remind us of the work our hands are capable of and the love our heart already knows. So how can we remind each other this morning of ways in which goodness and love and wholeness have shown up in our lives or in the world around us this week? What have you seen that's worthy of gratitude and celebration this morning? A long-awaited court date for the adoption of your niece and cousin. Yes, their cousin, yes. Beautiful. Yeah? Oh, wow. That's beautiful. Your grandma does a Christmas giveaway at her church for people who might not have enough money on their own to buy things for people they love, and you helped out with that, and it sounds like that was meaningful. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Paige. Yeah. 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 She's sharing about the same experience and the joy on the faces of those who came and were able to receive these gifts. Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. A workspace that is caring and kind and listens well. We give thanks for that, Amy, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, Alyssa.
Yesterday during the holidays in the Heights, there's a woman that's been working with two wives whose husbands were taken by ICE.
Mm.
And it was really neat to see Nancy is her name. She stood outside in the cold while they were making food for, I don't know how long, a couple hours maybe, and like she was there to help sell their treats, and it was just really cool to see her step up as a neighbor to those people.
Yeah. Beautiful. Watching someone give of themselves, I'm going to summarize this for the sake of another, right? And to give generously of time, energy, resources. Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate that.
I feel a lot of gratitude for the Austrian sisters and those who have become like sisters here.
You shared them with me this week, these Austrian nuns, and so I'll share more about them later. Your gratitude for them, they've been a gift to you. That's why you shared the story with me, and now I get to share it with everybody. And sisters here, people who are friends and companions on the journey. Yeah. Thanks, Sarah Jane. Mike?
Yeah, I was lamenting during the last section broken relationships, but that made me also be thankful during this one for good friendships, good relationships, deep relationships.
Yeah. Both present for you today, the mourning of broken relationships, the grieving of that, and then also the gratitude for relationships that are life-giving and whole. Yeah. Both are present. Appreciate that. Alyssa, you can go twice. We'll allow it. Yeah.
This one's at least kind of funny. I've enjoyed now that I've been here a couple of years seeing projects that I've done past Christmases. But one of my favorites is that Thrill Coat Fair.
Yeah.
We had to stop. I think we ran out of supplies at one point, and it just said a Thrill Coat with minus the PE.
A thrill of hope minus the PE, in case you can't hear her. A thrill of, yep. So, yeah, for those of you online, Alyssa's just sharing, being here a number of years now, and one of the things she has helped create in years past are these banners, and when we were making them, we didn't have the P and the E for a bit, and things got dicey. Yep. I don't think we hung it. Until we had the P and E, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Good. Well, we share those prayers together of gratitude and lament. We try to hold both around here. We try to do our best to open our arms to the full experience of what it is to be human in this world, and that means lots of things to laugh about and to celebrate and to have joy over, and also to hold the things that are not as they should be. So thanks for doing that together here. All right. We get to release Branch kids now. They're going down with Amy, it looks like. London maybe is going as well. Blessings to you both. And we're going to share this blessing to those kids as they go. Let's say these words here. Ready? May our time together be filled with wonder, joy, and friendship. You are loved. We'll see them sometime around communion, give or take. Okay. Oh, no. Yeah, we can't start the sermon with, hold on. Yeah, There you go. So, I actually, believe it or not, I have a Master's of Divinity. What a comical degree, by the way. Mastering divinity. I don't know who came up with that, but they did. And yet I don't know many things, and I keep learning lots of things, and so I learned this morning, actually, in reading an email from Diana Butler Bass, who's a historian and an author. She said, in a lot of Christian traditions, this second Sunday in Advent, which we are in, focuses on John the Baptist. Oh, I didn't know that. We actually talked about him last week a little bit. We are talking about him again this week, although I think typically the part of John's story that gets covered on that second week of Advent is the beginning of his story, or at least, the beginning of our encounter of him when he's in the wilderness, saying all sorts of crazy things, but getting a lot of attention for it, and people are coming to him, and they're listening and learning, and many are actually being baptized, and then Jesus comes and is baptized by John the Baptist. That's the part that we focus on. Well, today we're actually going to go towards the end of his life and look at that story, which is probably not very typical during Advent, but that's fitting for us, I suppose, to not be typical. Okay, we don't know a lot about John the Baptist. We don't. We know about the beginning, but we know about the end. But we don't know much about the between. So he's really the same age as Jesus. We know that he's out in the wilderness kind of teaching and baptizing and being this prophetic voice saying, hey, things are about to change. You should get ready. And then things kind of go quiet. But we do know that in this in-between period, John gathers some disciples around him. We know that he has disciples. We'll see that in a moment. So he has people following him around, drawn by what he is saying and wanting to learn from him. So he's a person of influence. We have other historical writings like Josephus that tells us that John had large crowds following him. The religious leaders were quite scared of him because of the influence that he had. And we know that he continued to be a prophetic voice, a voice. You remember what prophets do? We talked about this during Amos, during this journey through Amos in the summer. What do prophets do? They speak truth to power. John's doing that his whole life. In fact, when we encounter him in this story, he's in jail because he's spoken truth to power. Herod is on the throne, but not that Herod, not the Herod we encountered last week, Herod the Great. That guy has died, and his son, a different Herod, Herod Antipas, is now on the throne. And John confronts Herod and publicly says out loud that the king has done something wicked or wrong. And he's right. Because what Herod has done is he has taken his brother's wife for himself. Bad. Yes? Do we agree? This is not good. Okay, this is not good. And John calls him out on it publicly. That lands him in jail. And we'll pick up the story there. This is chapter 11 of Matthew. After Jesus had finished instructing his 12 disciples, he went on from there to teach and preach in the towns of Galilee. When John, who was in prison, heard about the deeds of the Messiah, he sent his disciples to ask him, "Are you the one who is to come, or should we expect someone else?" Jesus replied, "Go back and report to John what you hear and see. The blind receive sight, the lame walk, those who have leprosy are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the good news is proclaimed to the poor. Blessed is anyone who does not stumble on account of me." As John's disciples were leaving, Jesus began to speak to the crowd about John. "What did you go out into the wilderness to see? A reed swayed by the wind? If not, what did you go out to see? A man dressed in fine clothes? No. Those who wear fine clothes are in kings' palaces. Well, then what did you go out to see? A prophet? Yes, I tell you, and more than a prophet. This is the one about whom it is written, 'I will send my messenger ahead of you who will prepare your way before you.' Truly I tell you, among those born of women, there has not yet risen anyone greater than John the Baptist." Then there's Jesus doing his thing. "Yet whoever is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he." That's a different sermon, but that would be a good one. Today, what I want to focus on is this question: Are you the one who is to come, or are we to wait for another? I suppose you could read this and imagine that John is just asking this with curiosity. Hey, are you the one, or should we wait for another? But if you know the story, that doesn't make sense. John knows who Jesus is. They're relatives, don't forget. I don't know if they saw each other growing up, but they certainly, I'm sure, were told about each other. John knew who Jesus was. John baptized Jesus. John called Jesus the Lamb of God. John knew who Jesus was. But here's the thing. When life takes a difficult, painful turn, as it has for John, when you're in the darkness, be it a jail cell or the darkness of any uncertainty that life brings, it is easy for your questions to be raised, for your doubt to sink in. Jesus, are you the one? I thought you were. I think that's what John is saying. I thought you were. It felt so certain. But here I am, locked in a cell. Herod's lineage has not been broken. Our people are still crushed under the weight of the empire. I thought you were the one. But this isn't working out the way that I thought it would. And if you're not the one, then what was all of this for? I can hear John asking and saying, I've taken huge risk. I've sacrificed so much. Did it make a difference? Was it all for nothing? Reverend Dr. Boyoung Lee, who we're going to continue to reference throughout Advent here, says this about John's question. This is not doubt born of cynicism. It is the trembling that comes when conviction meets suffering, when the cost of faithfulness has been high and the fruit appears small. It is what hope sounds like when it is running thin. I'm going to guess that most, if not all of us, have had times when hope has run thin. When we've wondered, was it worth it? Was it all for nothing? Perhaps like John, there have been times in our lives where we've sacrificed a lot, risked a great deal, in the hope that things would change, but they didn't. At least not in the way that we had hoped. The cost of faithfulness has been high, but the fruit appears small. And so, like John, we wonder, was it worth it? Was it worth it? Many years ago, I think I'm 23 or so, I'm working at a church. Who thought that was a good idea? I have no idea. I'm far too young to be doing that, but they gave me a job at a church, and I, at 23, had a lot of optimism. And so Bethany and I, my wife, volunteered. I had paid responsibilities, but then we also, because we were young and didn't have children and had a lot of energy, we volunteered to help start a youth group. And there was this one-room building in Granville, this is where the church was starting, that we were a part of, that had been vacant for a while, not abandoned, vacant for a while, and the owner had said, oh yeah, if you guys want to do something in it, go for it. So we gutted it, redid every square inch of it, painted flooring, built a stage, built a coffee bar, put in tables and chairs. I mean, hours and hours and hours of our life. And not by ourselves, with a couple of other couples. And then that first night came when the youth group was beginning, and I think there were 3 people. And in the weeks that followed, there weren't many more. And in that whole year, there weren't many more. We had some weeks where we had 1 or maybe 2. Regularly, the adults outnumbered the students, And as a young person, full of optimism and idealism, I was very confused. Because I thought that there was a math formula that kind of worked out. Put in the work, do the right thing, maybe risk a little bit, and God will do whatever you think, I guess, God will do. And we could check all those boxes. We had worked hard, we had done the right things. Our plan was impeccable. The leaders, cream of the crop, We worked so hard. Why didn't things go the way that we thought they would? It was a bit of a quiet crisis for me. And I asked questions in that time like, was it worth it? Was it worth it? Was it all for nothing? And I think sometimes those questions show up even before we start. Sometimes they show up after we've done a lot of work, kind of the case for John while he's in jail, reflecting on his life, looking what he's done. But sometimes those questions show up even before we start. Like I think about the world today that we're living in, and I know that I have asked the question, is it worth the risk of confronting the hate that I see ramping up in our society? If the risk being I have to confront someone or I have to say something in a public setting that might upset some people, is it worth it? I've asked that question for sure. Is it worth the risk of saying something when a fellow Christian acts in a way that is completely the opposite of how Jesus acted? Will it change anything? Will it do anything? See, I sometimes ask these questions on the beginning of it all. Is it worth the sacrifice of energy and time to take up a meaningful cause like climate change or patriarchy or white supremacy? Is it worth the energy that you're going to invest? Will the fruit come about that you expect to come about? And I think these questions are not questions born of cynicism, They're honest questions that come when conviction meets suffering, when the cost of faithfulness has been high and the fruit appears small. It's what hope sounds like when it's running thin. And for John, I think it's possible, at the very least, if not likely, that hope for him is running thin. Look how Jesus responds to him. Jesus says, well, actually, let me start with what he doesn't say. He doesn't say, John, how could you ask such a misguided question? You should know better. I'm disappointed in you. It's not what Jesus says in response. Instead of condemnation, Jesus, it appears, offers compassion. And I don't want us to miss this given the conversation we've had about the fruit of the Spirit. But if we look at the life of Jesus, what you see is the fruit of the Spirit embodied. That's who Jesus is. It's the fruit of the Spirit embodied. And we see that in this instance here. We see the fruits of kindness and patience and love. In fact, Jesus does more than just offer kindness to John. He holds him up as an example. I tell you, among those born of women, there has not risen anyone greater than John the Baptist. My goodness, he says that about the person who in his kind of final moments has doubt and questions? Interesting. Friends, when you and I ask the hard questions, even the questions that come from our doubt or our uncertainty or our fear, Christ does not meet us with cruelty or condemnation. We are met with affirmation. So I hope you know that you do not need to shy away from your questions. Just the opposite. Do not fear that your fear might be used to condemn you. Christ will do no such thing. We must ask our questions. We must face our fears. It is the only way through. It's the only way. So Jesus responds with compassion, not condemnation, and his response points to the reality that when we're running out of hope, God is at work. Jesus replied, "Go back and report to John what you hear and see. The blind receive sight, the lame walk, those who have leprosy are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the good news is proclaimed to the poor. Blessed is anyone who does not stumble on account of me." Having questions is normal. And Jesus says to John's disciples, with this question in front of him, report back what you see and hear. The Spirit is at work. Maybe not in ways you would expect, but God is at work. What do you see? What do you hear? Let me read the other passage for this morning. It's Isaiah 43. It asks the same question, I think. See, I'm doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. The wild animals honor me, the jackals and the owls, because I provide water in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland, to give drink to my people, my chosen, the people I've formed for myself, that they may proclaim my praise. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? The answer, of course, is no. We don't perceive it always. We don't always recognize the new thing that God is doing. So just like Jesus says, Isaiah also encourages us to look around. What do you see? What do you hear? Yes, fear can blind you. That's being human, but it doesn't have to blind you. We can learn to see with new eyes and listen with new ears. Let me quote Dr. Lee one more time here this morning. Advent does not require us to manufacture hope. It invites us to bring our emptied hope to Jesus, to ask the hard questions, and to listen again for signs of God's nearness. When we're running out of hope, it may be the perfect time to ask, what do you see? What do you hear? And to trust that somewhere, even now, something new is springing forth. So what do you see? And what do you hear? What new thing is springing forth? We're just going to take a few minutes to reflect on this. In a moment, I'll throw up a Google Doc and we can enter in what comes to our mind. Let me give you a couple of prompts here. I've seen it this week when I was at a home improvement store loading something very heavy into my vehicle, and a stranger walking by to their vehicle said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "No, because I am strong and capable." And they said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yes, please help me." That was a breaking in of kindness and goodness. I saw someone at the grocery store take out a couple of bags of the person in line next to them because they had far too many to carry by themselves. I saw someone take what I assumed was their takeout bag. They had just come from a restaurant, and they gave it to someone sitting on the sidewalk. I listened to the story of a small, young nonprofit figure out how to give health care to their employees. What do you see? What do you hear? What new thing is springing forth? Remember, Sarah Jane mentioned these sisters in Austria, Rita, Bernadette, and Raina, maybe, is the middle one. These women have been at the same convent in Austria for generations, but for decades. A long time. That was the point. About 50 years, I think. And in 2024, the convent closed, but the nuns working there were given permission to stay and live in the convent until they could no longer. And yet, within the last couple of months, the church kind of moved them to a retirement community. And I think did so, I'm going to hope that they did so with really good intentions, because they thought that the care that they could receive there would be better than in the convent, which had, again, almost no one around, no medical facilities or people, But when those three women ended up in the retirement community, their hearts just kind of were broken. This had been home to them, the convent, all these years. All they could think about was how to get back there. And so some people helped them break out of the retirement home, get back to the convent. A locksmith was brought in to unlock the rooms that they lived in. And then people started showing up and bringing groceries and helping make sure that the water got turned on to their section of the building. And these three spunky, rebellious, women have been an example of resistance and courage, because they weren't told the truth. They were told they could stay there till they died, and then that changed. And instead of just kind of, folding in their 80s, they resisted and found help in doing so. And so maybe that story is a bit of an inspiration to you as well. What do you see? What do you hear? Where is something new springing forth? Here's a QR code to a Google Doc. We do this with some regularity around here, where we invite you to enter in your thoughts, your ideas, in this case, what you've seen, what you've heard. And so I invite you to scan that. If you don't have a device on you, you can maybe just lean over to a person close to you who does. If you're online, obviously, we hope that you'll scan this too and join us in this way. And just take a couple of minutes here to enter in what we've seen and what we've heard, ways in which we've noticed that God is at work around us. So let's take a couple minutes, and then I'll draw us to a close here. Feel free to keep adding things in there. Someone put in anonymous animals. I assume that that's the anonymous animals that we all get assigned to when you log in. Is that probably what that is? If not, that's what I'm going to read it as, and I love it. It's one of my favorite things, too. Anonymous anteater was in here earlier, I saw. Yep. I hope you're reading through this list a little bit. It's encouraging, at the least. People in here are noticing things that have happened, and they're noticing even things that might happen. A reconciliation between coworkers may be in the making. Wow. Students celebrating the end of a semester despite really difficult circumstances in their community. You can just read through here and notice that in a very, very quick period of time, you and I can together document lots of ways that God is at work, that the things of the kingdom of God are breaking into the world. And this is always happening, but it can be very hard to see and to hear if there isn't intentionality on our part. And I think a bit of skill development. I think we kind of learn over time, if we practice this, how to have this type of eyesight, right? But again, it takes some intentionality and some purpose. So keep adding things to it here. We'll have a few moments, during communion as well, if something else comes to mind. And then maybe don't lose this document. You can star it. You can add it to your drive if you want to, and you could come back to it this week just as an encouragement. We might need a little bit of that as we go along here. So, what I want to do right now is invite Katie to come up. Again, she's going to read a poem that's written by one of the people of sanctified art. And it connects to what we've been talking about, as you'll no doubt see. And we'll, from that poem, move into communion together.
Called God is in the Kitchen. I called home my first semester of college. I told my mom I was fine, but I was homesick. She must have heard the truth in my voice. The ache ate at me. It was a long, slow song, a million tiny ants slurping the juice from a peach. I was tender and bruised in the doldrums of it all. But she could hear all of that. So 3 states away, she preheated the oven. 3 states away, she tossed blueberries in a thin layer of flour. 3 states away, she dusted a layer of streusel over the soft peaks of a dozen warm muffins. And 3 days later, I unboxed a package from home. A dozen blueberry muffins, a love letter with my name on it, a reminder that I was not alone. If you're running out of hope, count to 3. God is in the kitchen. She's just waiting for the yeast to rise.
Even when we may not know it, or it may be difficult to see or hear, the yeast is rising. And it's interesting, the images and metaphors that Jesus uses to talk about the coming or the inbreaking of the kingdom of God. He talks about yeast. He talks about mustard seeds. He talks about, little coins lost under a couch somewhere. A sheep, one sheep off. And it's all these images that are not grand and even really that impressive at all. Which is why I think we usually need to recalibrate what we're looking for. Could that be any more true in this meal? What's special about this? It's bread and juice. There really isn't anything special in a sense about this. It's small, it's ordinary, it's mundane. And yet somehow in this practice, the Spirit of God meets us, we meet each other, and we have the potential to be changed by it. So you're invited to come and to take, to eat, and to drink, to taste and see again, to taste and see the goodness of God. We'll have a station up front here with a few folks. If you would like a gluten-free option, that'll be up front here in this station. And then in the back, we'll have a station 2 with bread and cup. Everyone is invited to this table. There's no expectation. You're welcome to remain seated or to go get a cup of coffee. There's no pressure. No one's keeping attendance or track. So know that. And know that you're welcome here at this space, in this table. Perfect. I need some folks to help serve this morning, if you'd be willing to do that. CJ's never not first up here. Would you head to the back, my friend? Thank you. Easy, bud. You didn't miss anything. We're good. You're good. We're good. Would you do the bread, Katie? That'd be great. Anybody else willing to help serve this morning? Oh, beautiful. There you go. Thank you. I'm going to have you two switch places because it'll mess everyone up. I know it. No one will be able to figure out what to do. Okay. Friends, the gifts of God for you, the people of God, let's share them together right now. I imagine that John the Baptist felt in some ways broken, his hopes, perhaps what he had expected or thought might happen as his life kind of drew to an end. And yet there's this image, if you pick up an Advent devotional, and it's hanging up out here as well in the cafe, one of the images this week is of John the Baptist in prison, but he's received the news of his disciples coming back to him. And there's a huge smile on his face. And the artist imagines that just in this moment of receiving this news and kind of recalibrating how he saw the world, joy entered into his heart where there was brokenness. We remember that joy is available to us too when we are broken, so we take and eat, remembering that. A life poured out means forgiveness. It means new beginnings. It means connection and covenant. All of that is captured in this, including hope. And so we take and drink, remembering those gifts. Beautiful. We'll make our music with these cups. You can put your cup in the basket as it comes around. Pass it to Dale. Thank you. And Teresa's going to lead us in one more song here this morning, another Christmas carol.
Before I do that, though, Alyssa wanted to add one more thing to our conversation this morning. Something good that's coming. So come on up, Alyssa. Chris will give you a microphone.
So this is on me. I totally forgot to say something before service started, so thank you for squeezing me in. Next weekend, the Good Neighbors is hosting a fitness class with a new gym that's opened in Alger. That's focused on LGBTQ and just like a safer space for a gym environment. The money's going to be going towards CCOM, so the food pantry. There's 3 different classes. There's Zumba first. I should know the second one. There's a functional
Body
range
combat.
Yeah, thank you. They had to rename it, I think, because of some copyright thing. So it's like Cardio Kick with Patrick, and then there's functional range conditioning with one of the owners of Catalyst Gym. Suggested donation of 10 to 20 per class. You can take 1, you can take 3. My husband informed me we're doing all 3, so. It starts at 9. Zumba starts at 9, and then it goes until, give like 15 minutes in between to do a little bit of resting. 9 to 12. And then there'll also be a bake sale there, money going towards CCOM. So that's what, so, yeah. Catalyst. So it's a new gym. They I don't know, I think they're open, but they've had some like construction issues, and it is around Kalamazoo and Alger, I believe. Where is their address? Thank you for knowing more. I'm helping throw this, and I'm like, I don't know. So if you have any more questions. That also would have been a good idea. Did not bring any flyers with me. So I could either show you the QR code after, or if you go to the Good Neighbors page, the event information's there too. So we'd love to see you there.
Thanks, Alyssa and Janelle. It's so fun to see these things popping up. It's so encouraging to see these things popping up because it's God's kingdom breaking in through bake sale and exercise classes that I'll probably pass out to, but then I'll eat baked goods and we'll be good. But it's these ordinary, mundane things, right? It's a gym class, it's baked goods, all so that people who don't have access to food right now can have better access to food. So thank you for the reminder of goodness and the invitation as well. Let's stand and sing one more Christmas carol today. Let's sing O Little Town of Bethlehem together.
The silent stars go by.
if you're in the choir, if you're going to do the choir, and I hope you do, it is so fun. You're going to be in the basement, I assume, yes? Okay. Becky, where will you be? Undetermined. Maybe in the basement. Everyone just head to the basement. Head to the basement, and we'll do that. We'll get started on those things really right away here. Okay. Let me offer this blessing to you as we prepare to go. Friends, in a fearful world, may you look for God's Spirit. May you reach for each other's hands. May you choose courage whenever you can. And in all things, may you remember that good news is louder than fear. In the name of the one who calls, the one who sends, and the one who journeys with, go in peace and be not afraid. Amen. Good to be with you all, everyone. Have a great Sunday. We'll see you soon.